This is Derek Rabel with Perceptive Software. So hello and good morning, and thank you all for joining today's broadcast, Making Document Filter Technology a Differentiator. Basically, the purpose of today's webinar is to describe what it is going to be like to partner with Perceptive Software to showcase one of Perceptive's most valued technology partners, and to discuss how our best-in-class document filter technology can advance a solution. We'll be leaving some time at the end of the webinar to allow our panelists to address any questions you may have. So if at any point during the webinar you have a question, please feel free to submit that in the chat window in the right-hand corner of your GoToWebinar toolbar. Joining us today are two very influential people in the software development world. We have eDiscovery leader, author, speaker, and VP of Platforms at Catalyst Repository Systems, Bruce Kiefer, and the Manager of Development and Principal Architect for Enterprise Search at Perceptive Software, Ben Truscott. So with that, please join me in welcoming to the mic Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Thanks, Derek.
So, Bruce, why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about who is Catalyst?
Sure. Catalyst produces software, and we support the eDiscovery process. For those of you not familiar with eDiscovery, you can imagine it as very large companies fighting other large companies, looking for intellectual property protection, disputes over personnel, or evaluating mergers, to name a few cases. We start by building document repositories in 1995 to connect several offices, and that grew to outside customers. By 2000, the software moved outside the law firm, and by 2005, we were free from the law firm's financial interest. 8 years later, we released our fifth version of our flagship product. It's called Insight. It's designed for large-scale eDiscovery, and we continue to grow and have operations throughout the U.S., as well as India, Japan, and Korea. That growth results in about 800 million documents under management for over 200 customers along the way. We've won some awards, and our CEO is recognized frequently, too.
Great. So could you tell us a little bit more, Bruce, about what it is that Catalyst does?
Sure. Our goal is to be the go-to eDiscovery and compliance platform for Global 2000 corporations. As such, we live in a world of documents, metadata, and reviewer judgments. Every day we handle millions of documents in many formats, languages, and variations. One of our first goals is to make them searchable. Beyond that, Catalyst has moved aggressively into the world of technology-assisted review. This is an area where, as the volumes increase, software is used more frequently to help make decisions and manage the volume. This year we released Predict, which is a transductive machine learning system. It has many uses, including prioritization, exploration of large document sets, and understanding relationships in the document population. In addition, our professional service team helps bring this software to customers, advising and consulting on when and how to get the best results. In the end, our sweet spot is complex and high volume matters, where we provide value, control, and simplicity.
Great, great. So could you tell us a little bit more about the relationship between Catalyst and Perceptive Software today?
Sure. To date, we've scaled our business by speed and turnover of documents. These are our most important metrics. We have to extract text to make documents ready for searching, and in addition to make them web-friendly for common business files. The key here would be that an Excel file is not really a web file. It doesn't view well when it's 150 megs or larger. We've seen a lot of software in this space, from the biggest names including Stellent and Autonomy, and dozens of smaller providers specializing in one or two formats. Using Perceptive was a pretty easy choice for us. We've made lots of decisions in the past, but this one was just a lot simpler. The other products are falling out of date, and their point solutions require too much integration efforts. With Perceptive, we can reduce our complexity and feel confident that their service and support team is committed to improving this product line. And we decided to license document filters in 2013, earlier this year.
Great, great. So I guess if you had to give kind of an overview about it, Bruce, why would you say you chose Perceptive Software over some of those competing solutions?
We've known most of the other competing solutions for quite a while, And when we looked at Perceptive, we were impressed with the broad platform support. We run a high mixture of Windows and Linux. Many of our development is on OS X or OS X as they prefer, I guess. It was interesting to us that Perceptive treated all of those as first-class citizens. Generally, when we go with a other software solution provider, they are Windows first or Linux only, and it's a miserable place trying to get it to work everywhere. The second part was that they're pretty good about everything we've seen so far. I mean, I don't want to chase down the best of AutoCAD or try and find a better PowerPoint viewer. They've got great support for a wide variety of formats. And then I enjoy the collaborative licensing process. It's been interesting to do licensing in the last 5 years for enterprise software with revenue sharing and one-time fees and stack payments and other things, but Perceptive listened to us, and we worked out a deal that worked out for both of us. And then finally, after becoming a customer, I've enjoyed the support and enhancements. They really do have a great support team. I interact with them probably up to 2 times a week over email and over their web portal, and I always get very quick responses. Sometimes there are strange oddities we see, sometimes it's clarification, but we were the company that asked them for an important feature that's in 11.1, which is Python support, and they delivered that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that, Bruce. That was a very informative piece, very genuine. Again, I just want a quick reminder to all the attendees, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box at any time, and we'll be sure to get to them at the end. But with that said, now I'd like to welcome to the mic Ben Truscott with Perceptive to tell us a little bit more about this technology that Catalyst is using in their platform.
Good morning. My name's Ben Truscott. I'm Development Manager and Principal Architect here for Search at Perceptive Software. Today we'll be doing a high-level look at some of the new features and functionality going into Document Filters 11.1. Document Filters is a single product that gives our partners the power to incorporate unstructured electronic content into their own products through easily embedded deep inspection, format conversion with output manipulation and viewing capabilities. The technology is particularly useful in applications for eDiscovery, as we've just heard, big data, data loss prevention, email archives, analytics, and other solutions that need to contend with unstructured data from proprietary formats. As a quick agenda for what I'll be covering, we'll be doing a high-level overview of the technology from a process perspective. We'll then look at a few outputs of the rendering capabilities of the product for common formats like Word, Adobe Reader or PDF, and AutoCAD. And then we'll be looking at the level of data that you can extract out of documents by looking at our structured XML output. And then following that, we'll touch upon the optional components of redaction, markup, and drawing functionality that's exposed through the API. And then we'll wrap up the segment with a brief recap of its functionality, including the platforms that are supported and programming languages that you can embed it in. So let's dive in. So here's a high level of the product from a process perspective. Document Filters begins by identifying unstructured files and documents. This is done independently of the file extension based on the data that's within the actual document. So rest assured, it'll take more than renaming the file or embedding it in another file to hide it from our technology. After the identification process, it filters and extracts every bit of content and metadata inside those files. We support all the Unicode character sets, which make up nearly all of the written languages in the world, and extraction includes custom metadata fields, hidden content like comments, annotations, and track changes in word processing documents, as well as hidden cells and sheets in spreadsheets. If the data is in the document, we'll be able to extract it. It then transforms the extracted content into usable data. This is where our layout engine sits, and where through our drawing API you can add things like redactions, markup, and drawings to the document output. The final step of the process is to output the data in a format that makes sense to your application, be it an image for rendering or manipulation, HTML or PDF for publication, or XML or plain text for further transformations in a workflow. So let's look at some side-by-side comparisons. On the left here we have the original document as it's seen inside Microsoft Word. On the right, you have the rendition as generated through Document Filters 11. So notice how it's preserved all the formatting of the native document, including font sizes, styles, indentations, headers, and footers. Second, here we have a PDF as shown in Adobe Reader. And once again, we can load it through Document Filters to create the rendition. Again, notice the subtleties of the document like shading, tables, and white space have all been preserved in the high fidelity output. And now for something a little bit more complex. So this is a 3D AutoCAD image of a chair, as shown in the True View from Autodesk. And on the right is the extraction or the rendition from Document Filters 11.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The first time we ran AutoCAD through it, it was just very impressive.
That's awesome.
And then this shows you the level of detail. We call this structured XML, and it's a graphic representation of that XML that shows the level of detail that can be extracted out of the document. So on the left, we have essentially a tree of paragraph lines, words, tables, images. Basically, anything that's in that document is represented in this XML. You also can extract out styles, locations down to the pixel coordinate. Also know the original coordinate inside the original Word document if that information is available. So at this point, basically anything that we know about the document is presented in the structured XML, and then you can know it about the document. So there's enough information here to create other high-definition renditions of the document. So new to Document Filters 11, we included a drawing API. So this makes editing the document quite simple. So instead of loading a document through Document Filters and then passing it off to secondary tools or APIs or custom APIs, we've baked it into the software where you can do things like redaction, watermarking, and drawing. So things like bait stamps, watermarking, or simple markup over the document are quite simple. So adding your own annotations, for example. So as a quick recap, we've learned that Document Filters 11.1 can identify and extract text and metadata from virtually any file format. We support over 460 formats today, and Document Filters is under active development with regular releases that often include new formats. We've learned that Document Filters 11.1 can convert files into high-definition renditions of the original to meet the needs of your applications. So these renditions can be HTML5, images, including multi-page TIFFs, PNGs, JPEGs, PDFs, XML, or just plain text. We've learned that Document Filters 11.1 includes a drawing API that makes redactions, markup, and drawing available. We support all the Unicode character sets, so it's language agnostic. Document Filters supports over 20 operating systems, making it ideal for multi-platform applications. And lastly, our API supports a wide range of programming languages. So whether you're a C++ shop, .NET, Java, or as we've heard, Python, you can rest assured we have you covered. So remembering that this technology can be used in a wide variety of applications. While the examples we've shown you today were rather eDiscovery specific, Perceptive has a strong lasting partnership with companies in a wide variety of industries. Not to mention, this is the same technology that we use in our own search engine.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Ben. Just one more reminder to everyone else on the line that this technology we've shown you today is really just one technology in a much broader portfolio of software that we have available to our technology partners, both componentized solutions as well as pre-built complete solutions. So should you have an interest in any one of these other areas on the screen, please feel free to reach out to us via the contact information we'll be showing at the end, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have about any of those technologies. So with that said, why don't we open the floor to some questions, shall we? Give folks a minute to submit them. Again, it's that chat window right there on the right. Okay, looks like we have a couple questions coming in. We have one here from John. Looks like it's to Bruce. Bruce, what was the level of effort required to perform the integration to the Perceptive technology from your old solution? Was there a steep learning curve?
For us, we believe in writing the smallest amount of software we can get away with and then knitting it together. So we were able to drop in Perceptive relatively easily. We had a customer come to us, and they were an engineering firm and had hundreds and thousands of AutoCAD files. Our other point solution that we used for the previous time we came across AutoCAD, because it's not usually a file format that we see in eDiscovery a lot, was out of date, and we had just finished signing the agreement. I got my license key from our sales rep, and I think using the sample apps I had something working that day. We got enough of it done to get through that project, and then the rest of the integration has been very straightforward. The Python support in 11.1 is easy to understand. It's very powerful. I don't think that it's covered as well necessarily in the seminar, but there's really neat support for compound documents like Microsoft Embedded OA and emails with attachments. Those are really tricky formats, and it wasn't just a simple skating exercise to walk through those, but it wasn't hard to get the support and the API working for getting compound documents running.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I hope that answers John's question. Got another one here for you, Bruce, from Mike. What is the Catalyst software deployment model?
Oh, we are a SaaS provider, ASP, cloud service, whatever new label you want to put on that. We do not ship the product to anyone. You don't get to own it. You use it in volume. And so for us, Perceptive was a good choice because we scale across several data centers and many servers, and some sort of processor license or other choice would have been really ridiculous. So we do it through SaaS, and our technology, we wrap up everything and present it to the customer over the browser.
Great, great. Looks like we've got another question here from Mike. This one is directed to you, Ben. Does the document filter technology support other deployment models besides SaaS?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we kind of touched on with the programming language interfaces, we built a set of binaries that can ship onto 20 different platforms, and then we have language bindings. So we have most environments covered where if you're writing Apache with Python embedded, you have no problem there. If you're writing Java applications, you have no problem there. So the software can be built and deployed into whatever model, whether you're building an on-premise where you have a heavy installer, or a SaaS model where you're hosting it in the cloud. There's no distinction there, and the licensing makes that easy to work out as well. So.
Great. Got another one for you here, Ben. This one from Suresh. What is the footprint for this technology?
That's a good question. So the total size for, let's say, Windows is around about 100 meg installation, and that includes things like samples and documentation. So when you get down to the core of what you actually need to ship with your product, it's sub 100 megs, and that gives you the 460 formats. The memory usage is around 50 to 100 meg, again, depending on the format, but that's a reasonable budget.
Okay, great. And I see we've got one more question for you, at least right for now, Ben. This one from Sanjay. Do you support multi-threading? Absolutely.
We factor all of these in from day zero planning. Multi-threading is a big part of how you scale an application today. So we consider the software, well, it's a fundamental part of the software. So you can definitely spin up multiple threads and have each thread processing documents independently without any issue there.
Can you give us any indication as to what that speed might look like, multi-threading?
So we've clocked it at over 100 gigs an hour input.
Okay, great. Here's one more for Ben. Just came in from Steve. Where do you see the future of this technology going for Perceptive Software?
That is a great question. So we're heavily invested in this technology. It's not something that is a side project or we maintain just for the fun of it. It's something that we actively invest and actively grow. So like I kind of touched on, we do add new formats on a regular basis. Often case we will beat the manufacturer of a new product to market for support of that format. So this is going back a few years, but the case in point was we supported Office 2007 before Office 2007 was actually released to manufacturers. So yeah, it's definitely a major part of the product suite and the development effort here at Perceptive Search.
Great, great. Well, I hope that answered your question, Steve. Give you folks maybe about another minute or so here. Any other questions, please feel free to submit them.
I can say that the focus for Perceptive helps because when you look at the competitors, they just don't keep up with the file format support. And it becomes hard because you then have a block of code running for the legacy formats and little dispatches for all sorts of other formats. And one of the great things we found is that we can, in time, we'll collapse all of our little special handlers and run everything through Perceptive.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate that piece there, Bruce, to kind of tie everything together at the end. Doesn't look like we've had any new questions come in, so just want to say again, thank you folks for joining today's broadcast. I really appreciate your interest in Perceptive Software. Should you have any interest in learning more about this technology, please feel free to reach out to myself, Derek Rabel at perceptivesoftware.com, or you could always reach out to us via our partner portal at partners@perceptivesoftware.com, and we'd be happy to have a quick discussion with you, see how we might be able to help you. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for listening.